From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of InFocus. I am your host, Patrick Berry. We are here today talking about one of our favorite subjects, pets. Everybody has them. I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people have pets, and we all love them dearly. But I've invited Lindsay Doray. She is the Chief Development Officer with the Second Chance Animal Services Group here in Western Massachusetts to talk about how we love our pets and what Second Chance does as a shelter, how they keep our pets healthy, how they help pets find homes and so forth. So, Lindsay, thank you very much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you coming in today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So let me just start out a little bit about you, okay?
Okay.
So how long have you been in the animal shelter world?
So I've actually been with Second Chance for all of that. So I've been with Second Chance for 15 years.
Wow. Why did you get into it? Did you just a love of animals and you wanted to, help animals, or did you go to school for it?
So I did not go to school for it. My original plan was law school, and
Really?
yes,
Well, that's okay.
yeah, sure. But I did not. I decided that wasn't for me.
Okay.
And I was brought up being told, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel very strongly about that. And I love animals. I always have, but I unfortunately don't enjoy the sight of blood. That part of it is not for me. So that's kind of how I ended up here. I've been with Second Chance, like I said, 15 years. I was a volunteer before I was an employee.
Okay.
The organization actually started in our sunroom. We were a foster home, and so I've been here. Yeah, I've been here since the beginning. So Second Chance has been around since '99, and I've been here since. Yeah, pretty much.
So now you started out as a volunteer.
Yes.
What is your role today?
I'm the Chief Development Officer.
And what does that mean?
My job is to basically help on the funding. I do all of our events, fundraisers. I oversee our grant applications, grant reports, making sure that the grants that are coming in are being spent exactly as they're supposed to be. I'm out in the community talking about the work that we do. I oversee, we have a volunteer coordinator. Obviously, we have somebody that helps get information out there, communications, marketing. So I'm involved in all of that.
So when it comes to animal shelters, they're everywhere. They're across the country.
Yep.
What does an animal shelter do? And now there are different things, too. There are shelters, there's rescues, there's hospitals, there are a bunch of different things. But so it's Second Chance Animal Services. And
yes.
So what does Second Chance do?
So Second Chance started off as an adoption center. Our name was Second Chance Animal Shelter. We've changed it to services because we do so much more than just be a shelter. Shelters typically take in animals that are abandoned, stray, owner surrenders, coming in from overcrowded shelters, all of those things. We take it a step further. Our goal is actually to keep them out of the shelters.
Okay.
Our goal is to keep them in their homes, because what we have found in our existence is that a lot of the animals that are being surrendered to the shelter, it's not that the people want to surrender them. It's because there's some sort of hardship that has happened. Death of an owner, and there's no family able to take the pet. Somebody gets sick, somebody gets hurt, and they lose their job. Things like that, where they fall on hard times and they're left trying to decide between feeding themselves and their pet, or being able to afford to care for their pet. And they have, a lot of times there's children in the mix, things like that. So they have to make that decision. And I mean, I'm sure we've all seen that things have gotten a little tighter. The cost of things have gone up. So, sometimes, people are trying to figure out how they're going to do it all.
So is that part of your role too, is to create the awareness so that people who may have to surrender a pet know that there are options out there?
Right. And that's a big part of what we do is, we say we're here tip to tail. So it is letting people know not only of, ways that they can support the mission, but also the services that are out there. Because again, our goal is to keep these pets in their homes.
Right.
And sometimes that means they need the services of our pet food pantry. Sometimes it's because a medical issue has come up with their pet and they're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for it because, they just can't. So we have hospitals. Our hospitals are located in North Brookfield, Southbridge, Worcester, and Springfield.
Okay. So you really cover Worcester County and Hampden County pretty well.
Yes. Yep. That's our goal. We want people to have, we try and strategically put our hospitals in areas that there is a high rate of poverty, a huge need. So we're on Mulberry Street in Springfield. In Worcester, we're in the Main South area. Southbridge actually has that zip code and area has a very high rate of poverty. So we know that the services are much needed there, and we want to make them accessible because pets are not always allowed on transportation. So some pet owners walk to us.
You bring up an interesting topic. You're in areas where the finances for caring for a pet may not be as high as other areas, but pet care is expensive. So
Correct.
How do you accommodate those people who may not have the discretionary income to properly care for their pet?
So our hospitals are all full service, and you can come to us whether you're, low income or not. That doesn't matter. We have additional subsidies for those that are low income. Because again, our goal is access to care and pet retention and keeping pets in their homes. So there are additional subsidies available for those that fall into the guidelines.
So anyone can use the services,
Absolutely.
but if you are on the lower income scale, there's help out there for you. So
Correct.
you can still enjoy the love of a pet and maintain a pet. But if God forbid there's something that happens to your pet, you can still afford to take care of them.
Correct. And we're always applying for grants and doing fundraisers to help, be sure that those services are available. Sometimes we luck out and we'll get a grant that is specific for, let's say, senior pet owners, or, senior dogs, or, certain things like that, so that if we do see an owner that's, struggling to afford it. We actually had a very generous donor that had, given us a donation and said, look, if you've got somebody that's coming in that's just a little short on their bills, their bill, and they can't afford the medication. They brought it in, they were able to take care of the vet exam, but they're short $50 on their bill, and Fluffy needs its medication. He's like, I want it used for that. Yeah.
Nice.
So, that's the way that the community can come together and keep these pets in their homes. Right now, the state of animal welfare, it's scary.
Really?
Yes. Across the country, shelters are full. And it's harder for people to adopt because they're worried about obviously taking care of the pet. Yeah. So we're not seeing as many large breed dogs get adopted or as quickly as we used to.
Interesting.
And so it's really hard. So our goal is making sure the services are out there, because most people will find a way to make sure that their pet has care. So by offering it at a subsidized pricing and again, our costs.
Offering help.
Yeah, offering the help and making it that it's more affordable, people are likely to do it. They're,
right.
That's why we do so many community vaccine clinics.
Okay. All right. We are up on our first commercial break. We're here with Lindsay Doray with Second Chance Animal Services. We'll be right back after this.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back to the 22 News Plus studios for today's edition of In Focus. Lindsay Doray is across the desk from me today. We're talking about animal shelters and the love of our pets. And when just before we went to break, Lindsay, you talked about there's a crisis in our country with pets. Expand on that a little bit more if you could.
Sure. So right now, shelters across the country are full. People are calling.
Is that because people aren't spaying and neutering, or people aren't adopting like they used to? There's got to be a reason.
I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think that a part of it is, not having the access to care. Again, that's what we're built on. So that's tough. That's putting pets into the shelter. There is also, landlords are changing leases. And so pets that were once accepted into, certain housing and certain apartment complexes, when they change the lease, the people are basically told, you need to get rid of the pet or you need to find a new place to live.
Really?
And and if you can imagine the housing crisis that we're already in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine if you live in an apartment and being put in that position, knowing that there's really not that many apartments out there, or, if there are, I was just going to say, the cost. And so that's certainly causing an issue. And I wish that there was a way for lawmakers to look at that in some way, because that's certainly not helping the issue. That's creating more of a problem. And we are seeing a lot more of that.
So you have a group of people who are living in apartments or in a rental situation of some type.
Yep. Where
their dog may be 5-6 years old. It's been fine. And then all of a sudden a new lease comes up and the new lease says no more pets.
Right. And then again, the other factor in that, as I mentioned before, some of your large breed dogs, they're not being adopted as quickly just because of the cost of pet ownership. So that's why we feel really strongly, if we can keep a pet in its home, we want to be able to do that. But there's some things that we can't do, and we can't make every landlord, we as Second Chance, can't make landlords, stick to what was in a lease previously. And
that's where our legislatures, you work with our legislatures to help.
We don't. But I would love for them to look at things like that, because, certainly we can advocate that, we wish it was there, but we don't lobby. We don't do any of that. Our goal is, the other side of things, keeping them in their homes whenever possible. But that's where I would really love for, somebody to do a deep dive into that and see what they can do, because
we'll have to get a politician on here and grill them over it.
Yeah. Something.
So a family has to surrender their pet to you. It could be a dog, a cat, a guinea pig. I don't know what you take.
So we take dogs, cats. We do occasionally have guinea pigs and rabbits. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So then what happens? So do you work solely to find those pets new homes? Do you work with other shelters in Massachusetts, New England, the Northeast? So if somebody from Albany is looking for this type of dog or cat, they contact you, the animal moves, or is it all just really locally here to Massachusetts?
Most of it's pretty local. We do have shelter partners, across the country, that we do help out when they are, overcrowded. Not all shelters are no-kill. We are a no-kill shelter. So when they come into our care, they're here with us until they find a home. Whether that be 2 weeks, 6 months, it doesn't matter.
So there are shelters you just pointed out that euthanize animals,
yes.
Euthanize pets. Is there? Well, you don't do it, so you may not be able to answer this question. Is there like a time frame? Like if a pet's been in a shelter for 30 days or 90 days, 100 days?
Yeah, I don't know what they use for time frames, but, people that are interested in seeing, the no-kill shelters and everything in their community, Best Friends has done they have a whole, because the goal is to be no-kill. So if you go onto Best Friends website.
What's Best Friends?
Best Friends is an animal welfare organization, a large one.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you go to bestfriends.org, you can actually see what's going on in your community. You can pick, that you live in Massachusetts, and you can
I live in Westfield. I can pick Westfield.
You can absolutely go on there and see what the numbers look like in your area and the specific shelters, and you can see.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can see. So we're very proud of our number. We're a no-kill shelter. We have over a 99% save rate. So again, there are occasional pets that do come into anyone's care that if the medical is. They're not savable, and
cancer, whatever the pets might have.
Again, if there's anything we can do to save them, we do it. We've had pets go in on hospice. If they are happy and comfortable, then there are times that they live out their life until they no longer have quality of life. But we are a no-kill shelter, and we're really proud of that. And we love the movement of shelters becoming no-kill shelters.
Absolutely. But that and it's interesting. I know anecdotally, you probably know it specifically. I think the southern United States don't have the spaying and neutering the emphasis we have.
Yeah, so, the line is getting better.
Dogs,
yeah, the line is definitely getting better. But we take from some of those overcrowded shelters, and we try and help out those partners, because if they're overcrowded, but we're able to take some. Sometimes it helps balance that. They don't need to euthanize for space.
Right.
Again, that's the goal, is to try and make it that's everywhere. But even if you go on Best Friend's website, you can even see all of those different areas. I mean, it shows across the country, so you can look and see where there's still, a lot of euthanasia in the shelters. You can see all of that, which,
So how many, at any given time, how many pets do you have?
That's a good question. So we also utilize foster homes when we
Makes
can.
sense, right?
So if we have, the more foster homes we have, the higher capacity we may have. I would say probably 140 animals, maybe.
Okay, and
And again, sometimes it's, a litter of kittens in foster homes, and,
comes
stuff
in
like
as
that.
one, ends up with 9.
That's true. That's true.
We are up on our second commercial break. We're here with Lindsay Doray from Second Chance Animal Services. We'll be right back in a moment.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back to In Focus, everyone. I am your host, Patrick Berry. Today we are talking about the four-legged creatures that live in our households with us. We're not talking mice and those things. We're talking our pets, cats, dogs, maybe even a guinea pig or two if you have them, and the love we have for them. And, Lindsay Doray is joining me. She is across the desk from me. There's her title right there, Chief Development Officer with Second Chance Animal Services. And we're learning more about the pet services and pet care in our area. The way you've explained everything so far, Lindsay, and we know it, pet care is expensive, but you help people who may not have the funds be able to enjoy pets and care for their pets. But it's expensive. So how do you do that? How do you provide all these services if you don't have a lot of the money coming in from the care?
To be honest with you, it's the generosity of the community and the business within it, grantors, funders that realize the importance of the human-animal bond. For many people, actually, I was just reading a statistic this morning that I had to chuckle at. It said that pet owners, when asked, they would rather snuggle with their pet. 60% would rather snuggle with their pet than their partner. And, we kind of laughed, and, it was a little email, chain back and forth, and everyone was like, 60%? I feel like some people are lying because it's much higher than that.
I thought you were going to go the other way.
Yeah. No. But people care about their pets. For our seniors, it's what keeps them active and going every single day.
And so much research has shown stress reduction.
Oh, 100%. Yep. Lowers blood pressure. It keeps them active. It helps with loneliness. They say it can help with things like Alzheimer's and dementia and things. So, and it provides people a focus.
Absolutely.
So, much needed. Yes.
I have to get up. I have to take the dog for a walk. I have to clean the litter box, whatever it might be.
Yep. So we want to be there for that. Like I said, our goal is to keep pets in their homes. Many times the situation is, sometimes it's temporary. Somebody loses their job. And people have asked me, well, if they don't have the money for a pet, they shouldn't have one. And I'm like, okay, well, what about, the 80-year-old woman that just lost her husband? Should she have to give up her 15-year-old cat because, funds are tighter now? Well, no, you can help her. And I'm like, okay, what about the 40-year-old, mom of 3 whose husband unexpectedly had a heart attack and they've got 3 kids and 2 dogs? Should they have to give up the 2 dogs after they just lost their dad? Oh, well, no, you can definitely help them. And I'm like, okay, well, this is real world. There's so many scenarios. And when I say some of them, they're like, oh, I get it now. And it's like, yes, keeping them in their home, it's actually less expensive to keep them in their home than it is to take them into the shelter, do all the vet work. When you adopt out an animal, the adoption fee only covers part of what's into that pet for medical. So the way that we do it is, again, it's through the support of the community. It's donors that, mail us $100 check at Christmas time. It's, donors that hey, I can pick up a bag of, kitten food for you or cat food. So it comes in the way of supplies. It comes in the way of, small donations, funders and foundations that care about access to care. We've been doing access to care now for more than 10 years. So, if there's a funder that cares about animal welfare, their money can just go further.
Right.
We're a very resourceful organization. Trust me, I get teased on it all the time, but we're very, very resourceful because our goal is to make sure that donors' money goes to the animals.
Right to the animals.
Right. We keep our admin costs low. We want to help pets. That's what we're here for.
You have a fundraiser coming up. It's right there on the screen. It's called Barking 20s Cocktails for Tails. That's a good name.
Yep.
Tell me about it.
It's a Roaring 20s themed, as you can tell from that picture. It's a Roaring 20s
thing
theme
on the dog.
It's going to be a fun night. Just, delicious dinner, raffles. We're going to have music through the decades. It's just a fun night for people to come out, support the work that we're doing. Again, these fundraisers are crucial to be able to raise the money so that, there is pet food in the pantry and that we are able to do these community vaccine clinics that are helping prevent parvo from spreading. So fundraisers are a part of what we do. Like I said, grants, individual donations, every amount is meaningful.
You casually mentioned the pet food pantry.
Mm-hmm.
Explain more about that. So how does go ahead. Sorry.
We have a pet food pantry. Right now we're working with, I believe it's 25 local food pantries. The goal is if there is pet food at the food pantries that people are already using, it makes it more of a one-stop shopping for them. They're able to get pet food while they're there. Because people right now are having to choose between feeding themselves and their pets or picking up their medications. So some people are forgoing picking up their medications in order to buy pet food. Wow. So we provide it to the food pantry. We do not direct distribute. We go through the food pantry so that people can get it while they're already there. It's hard enough for some of these people transportation-wise that it's easier for them to get it when they're already there.
So me as a general population, if I'm doing my weekly grocery shopping and I pick up a case of Purina cat food, can I drop it off?
Absolutely. Okay. Any one of our locations would be happy to take it. And then it would make its way to our food pantry, our pet food pantry, and get distributed. I will tell you that cat food is the most needed item. Dry or canned, it doesn't matter. It does not get donated as often as the dog food does. Okay. But it is needed more often because a lot of the people that are using the pet food pantry, they're either living in apartments or they're seniors, and they're more likely to have small dogs or cats.
Right.
So it's much, much needed. We are actually working really hard to raise funds to expand the building that our pet food pantry is in. Right now, my department does not want to see us not be able to help somebody. So we have supplies stored in our office that normally would have been stored in that area, but we want to make sure that when we are able to take donations of pet food, that there is room to do it. So until we get our addition, which people can also support. Yeah, fingers crossed. It's going to happen. I'm not the give up type.
Right there on the screen is the website, secondchanceanimals.org. What can people find when they go to the website, aside from, adopting? Can they learn how to foster? Can they learn how to donate?
Absolutely. Volunteer. They can find our events.
The Barking 20s.
Absolutely. Everything is there. They can go on there. They can read more about any of our programs and services. They can go on there and see the pets available for adoption. The foster application is on there. The volunteer application is on there. Upcoming events. There's programs that we did not even touch on today. Any of our community vaccine clinics can be found there. Okay. We also do them in-house in each of our hospitals every week. Because again, keeping pets vaccinated, some people can't afford, an office visit and vaccines on top of it. So we do vaccine clinics so that it keeps it really reduced cost. And that way pets are getting vaccinated. That will reduce the spread of disease in the community.
Very good. Just as a reminder, the hospitals are located in Southbridge, Springfield, Worcester, and North Brookfield. Mm-hmm. The website, again, is secondchanceanimals.org. Lindsay, I can't thank you enough for sharing a little bit of insight into how our local animal rescue services work in our area. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Good seeing you.
We're always delighted.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.